What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Super Gamer Boys. I'm your host, Colonel and most handsome dad, Garrett Morlang, and here in the virtual studio with me is the king of video games and pocket poppy, Adrian Homeboy Holmes. What's going on,
Look at me shaking
Adrian?
with excitement. I'm raring to go.
He just took a shot of adrenaline straight to
shot
the
of
chest.
adrenaline
Just
right through the sternum.
just woo, ready to go.
Woo!
What game is that? That's like a video game mechanic. What game was that though? Where you just like straight up just get? Is that just Call of Duty? Maybe it's like just like when you get down
where they
in
give
Call
you
of Duty.
like you stab yourself with the stim pack to get up.
Yeah. Oh,
I
that's
thought you
what
were
it
talking
is.
about
That's
movies
what it
because I was
is.
gonna say
It's Apex Legends. Like you shoot yourself up with like the stim packs and stuff like that. I think. I mean, there's a lot of games that do it, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say movies because I would have said, oh, you mean like Pulp Fiction when they do the adrenaline needle through her sternum?
Oh yeah, you're right. They do it there. Yeah, that's insane. That's absolutely crazy. Just
like no, it's like that too. That's how I'm feeling right now. You know, I'm excited. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Made it through another Monday. Decided to pull out my old school uniform, my old Yasogami High school uniform jacket.
Nice.
Just on GP. But yeah, man, it's been a Monday, but not the worst.
Hey,
and that's all we can ask for, especially with Mondays.
Yeah, there you go.
But how about yourself?
I'm doing all right. It was Monday for me. Felt like it should have been a Thursday or Friday. I ended the day, walked into my boss's office. She's like, "How you doing?" I'm like, she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "How you doing?" I'm like, "I'm doing good." It was a busy day, and I was like, "It feels like."
So what do you have planned for the weekend?
Feels like it's like the end of the week, and she's like, "Yeah." I mean, she felt the same way. She's like, "No, yeah, today is totally felt like it should be like the end of the week, and we're like ready to head over for the weekend." But that's all right. I don't think it's going to be a bad week. It's just going to be an extremely busy week. A lot going on. So I guess that's
what can you do?
Comes with having a job, I was working for months to get a job. And here I am, got a job.
This is what you wanted.
This is what I wanted. It's what I wanted. You know what? It's been pretty great, honestly. So can't complain.
Good.
But yeah, I think what it is, I was telling you this, kind of mentioned it before the show, but it also comes down to just like the unknown of it. Like this week, there's a lot going on with stuff I just don't know yet, which I mean, that's been all of my job, honestly. Like the fact that I even have this job doesn't make sense because I'm not, I'm barely qualified for any of this, but it feels
Don't say that. What if they see this? What are you talking about? Of course you got it.
They know I'm not. I've never worked in this field at all. They know that for a fact.
Putting your foot in your mouth, brother.
Yeah. So it's just like going into this week knowing like there's so much to do and I don't know how to do any of it. I think that's what it is. It's like exhausting already, knowing like mentally I'm going to be learning a lot and physically as well. Like we're doing actual all sorts of fun stuff. So yeah. It's going to be a week, but we'll get through it.
Okay.
Also this week, I decided to drop this on you like 2 minutes ago.
Right.
November 13th is I think it's
1,
6
2,
years.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Years.
Because we started in 2018. So that would be the 6th anniversary of Super Gamer Boys. This is wild.
Correct. Does it feel like you've been at it for 6 years?
In some ways, yes. In other ways, no. Like, if that makes sense. Like, it feels like there's times where I'm just like, man, we've been doing this a long time. It gets exhausting at times. But then there's other times where I'm just like, I don't know. Every once in a while, when I'm getting ready for the show and typing in the episode number, I'm like, episode. What? Like episode what is it this week? Like this week is 265. I'm like, that's crazy to me. We've done 260. We've done this 265 times. Just this show, not even our other shows. We have 3 other shows that we've done at various times too. So crazy.
We are gonna be having to start planning for 300 before you know it. You know that, right?
I know, right? I mean, technically in less than a year, right?
Yeah.
52 weeks.
That's
in a year,
like next May or June, I think. If we hit it every week. 30 weeks?
Yeah, 35 weeks. Something like that. It's
coming up quick.
Coming up quick.
It's gonna be here before you know it.
I guess I better start planning. Thanks, Adrian.
And we're gonna be having this conversation. Did you know episode 300 is coming up? What do you mean?
Yeah. Don't you love how I dropped that? Like I think the last couple times there's been big events, I've done that too, where it's just like we sit down for a recording 2 days before the event. Oh, did you realize it's this? You're like, why didn't you tell me?
Did you know it's our 5-year anniversary and we're doing a 12-hour live stream for it? Gee, Garrett, I had no idea.
Oh man, I used to plan better, but you know, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, who are you telling?
But we are thinking about doing something this weekend. So we don't have any.
Nothing is concrete.
Nothing's
Everybody
concrete
relax.
because I literally told Adrian about this a few minutes ago.
We haven't even talked to other people who might participate in said activity. More info to come. TBD.
Yeah.
And TBA.
But think about just keeping your Friday/Saturday evening free. Just one or both nights, just in case. We're not sure which one. We're not sure which one, but hopefully, yeah, Friday or Saturday night, have a fun little stream time with some friends, playing a game perhaps. And but yeah, check out social media. You'll know for sure what's going on.
Or we might just be yapping about the good old days and monumental moments in SGB history. You know,
honestly, yeah. If we can't decide on a game, it might just be hanging out and reminiscing. Uncle Gamer in the chat says, "Happy 5-year." 6 years actually.
Plus one, but much appreciated.
But he says they say take 5 shots in game, easy. I mean,
I'm not opposed to this.
People do that. They do that. They do some more shots than they say. I mean,
I'm not opposed to this idea.
People do like the drunk Mario Kart streams. I've never participated in one, but I've heard bad things about it.
There's a first time for everything.
Our friends over at Super Best Friend Video Game Sleepover podcast, David over there, he was part of one just maybe like 3-4 months ago, and he's like, never again. Like he was so sick.
He says that day. Now, but you know he had a good time when it was in the middle of it.
Yeah, I mean the clips from it are hilarious too. Like it was, they had a blast. But,
right.
Oh man, yeah, I can only imagine.
Look, Uncle Gamer, honestly, a great idea. I think we should put a pin in that. Put it on the board. I'm just throwing it out there.
Maybe not for this weekend. I need more time to prep my body for something like that. I'm 31 years old now.
I'm older than you. What do you mean?
But it sounds like you have, experience doing that type of thing.
Drinking?
So here's the thing though, like, okay, I have experience drinking, but I don't think I've ever been drunk. I've always been one like, just one or two, like cups
really,
of
not once.
Not once. So for me, it's like, that's new territory. I feel like I need to train for it. No, I'm kidding.
There's no training.
I need to train.
There's no training. It only happens, and you get more knowledgeable about how to recover from it. It's the same experience every time.
Oh no. Okay. All right. So yeah, stay tuned this weekend. Hopefully some games or something happening, but we'll keep your eyes peeled on our social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, I guess, if you use that. We post on there once in a while, I guess. Uncle Gamer says, or you don't remember.
Now, I have never gotten that bad. I've never gotten blackout. No, thank you.
That doesn't sound fun.
Terrifying.
Yeah, I know that not only A sounds terrifying and B doesn't sound fun. It's like, what's the point of that at that point? It's like, okay, because if you did have fun, you don't remember it.
You don't remember. And if you did something terrible, you also don't remember it.
Which is maybe a blessing and a curse, but probably more of a curse, depending on what it is you did.
No, I'm good off blackout.
Yep.
Now, having a good deal of fun, definitely done that. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, man. All right. Well, we should probably talk about some video games tonight. So today,
at some point,
we're talking about Death Stranding surprise Xbox launch, backwards compatibility confirmed for Nintendo Switch 2, and Palworld lawsuit ends in only $66,000 in damages. But first, let's give a quick shout out to our Patreon producers, Bumple Smash and Kajoma01, and our Super Gamer sponsors, Julie Bates, Mama Mare, Carrie, and David Matthews. If you want to be awesome just like those folks, head over. Whoa, excuse me. Oof. That just snuck up on me. That snuck up on me.
Good grief. You can't even handle your own spit. I guess we can't do the
Can't even handle water over here. I can't
Right.
even handle my water, dude.
Never mind.
It's rough. It's
Sorry,
tough.
Uncle Gamer. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Gary can't even handle a water shot. Good grief.
If you want to be awesome just like those folks, head over to patreon.com/supergamerboys where you can support us starting at just $1 a month. That's right, $1 each and every month gets you episodes early and ad-free, such as this show, as well as access to our Patreon exclusive show, like Super Later Boys. I was trying to remember the name of the show. Super Later Boys, early season Super Gamer Book Club, as well as a whole backlog of our shows ad-free. So think about supporting us there. There's more perks. We'll talk more about that later on in the show. I want to give a huge shout out to Jack Sriracha, Yate, and DJ Trooz for allowing us to use their music here on the show. Tonight we're listening to DJ Trooz, so make sure to go check them out. Apple Music, Spotify links will be in the show description. If you're watching on YouTube's and listening on podcast apps, go find them, give them a listen, add them to your playlist, and enjoy. All right, Adrian.
Yes, sir.
It's now time to check the mail.
All right. And
mail time.
a classic. I'm not mad at it. So GamerBot unfortunately does not have the night off. They were ready. They were here. But there was no work for them. They were. I talked to them a few minutes like before we started the show.
You're not just covering for them.
I'm not just covering for him. Okay. What I was going to say is the onus is actually not on GamerBot. We, unfortunately, did not get any mailbag questions for this week.
Gasp.
So everybody has to jump off GamerBot's back. They were here. They were ready. Okay.
Yep.
But there's nothing for them to do. So I just, put them back into sleep mode. So what else? You know what I mean? I'm not paying that power bill if I don't have to. No,
so, sir, it's expensive.
Apparently,
Patreon
you said we did have a traditional missive from a young gentleman. Is that correct?
Yep, we got another encyclopedia entry from Ranger over here. So I will go ahead and read this. Written to us through the form submission page on our website, supergamerboys.com, which is reserved for listeners and viewers who are over the age of 55.
Got him. Ate him up.
All right, he starts out. Boys, it's time for your weekly fancy feast. At this time of the year,
what are we, cats?
I guess so. I've never been a cat person, but all right. That's fine. That's all right.
Okay.
At this time of the year, sales start to pop off and everyone online begins talking about their game of the year. Perhaps based on some of your feedback and reactions on the show, it has felt like Garrett may be leaning towards Final Fantasy Rebirth, and Adrian perhaps is heading toward the Astrobot camp. Now, Black Friday is just around the corner, and it has me thinking. One game I've been strongly advised to check out is Metaphor Refantasio. And many people I've spoken with are seriously considering this their game of the year. I played the demo and really enjoyed it. It's fun since it's from the creators of Persona 3, 4, and 5, and it takes place in a very peculiar fantasy world. The problem is I just bought Dragon Age, the Veilguard, moments ago, and will most likely be locked in for a while.
What a terrible problem to have. Right? I want to buy this one awesome game, but I unfortunately bought this other awesome game that I have to play now.
However, I feel I may be seriously tempted to buy Metaphor come Black Friday. My questions for this week. Are there any games that are currently on your radar come Black Friday or upcoming holiday sales that you feel may tempt? Wait for it. I'll use a metaphor here. Your itchy trigger finger to purchase. What are one or two games you are both currently pining for that you would purchase next if they had a decent price drop or not? And then lastly, do you ever feel the pressure or a mental deadline to complete certain games prior to the end of the year to keep up with Game of the Year conversation? P.S. It blows my mind that Metaphor sold 1 million units in its first day of sales. Why?
Let's go, Persona team.
That is insane. And then PPS, Ranger thanks you both for putting your hands in the pudding. You two deserve the privilege.
I forgot about that.
Wild, absolutely wild. I love how there's no, he didn't even address like where that's from at all. It's just that
you had to be there.
Just thanks for doing it. Thanks for doing it. Oh well, no, I just wish he would have like there would have been some like, oh yeah, I heard it here one time, or it is, you know, I don't know. I was hoping for an explanation. You don't have to, Ranger. This isn't a request. Like send an explanation for next week, but I was just looking forward to hearing like, okay, where in the world did he come up with this put your hands in the pudding nonsense? But I guess
it's probably best if we don't know.
Yeah, it's just a mystery that I'll have to live the rest of my life wondering about. Probably in my deathbed.
We'll just go
That's
with
the last thing I whisper.
We'll go with the lore that he made it up. He created it.
On my deathbed, my wife and my 2 kids and my 4 grandchildren are all standing around me and looking down. And my final words as I breathe my last breath is,
"What hands in the pudding?"
What did Ranger mean by hands in the pudding? Then I die.
Not you having a rosebud moment. Hands in the pudding.
Hands in the pudding.
Everything in your life starts flashing back.
Yeah, it's like this major flashback from the beginning of my life to the end of my life. But then like all of a sudden it rewinds back to hands in the pudding. It rewinds back to that moment last week when I read that about
that moment.
And that's what's
the
on
moment
my mind.
that changed the course of my life forever.
When scientists are able to scan brains and see what the final memories were of dead people, like that's what they're going to see is like the memory from last week of me reading that question about putting hands in pudding. They're gonna be like, "Wow, this is what that guy was
What is
thinking
this?
about when he
What
died."
is this intense trauma spot right here that we see in this wrinkle on your brain? It's it's worse than any other wrinkle on this human's brain. Can we explore that? and then post it up. Hands in the pudding.
When they when they have the technology to like basically turn your brain into a DVR and it's broken up into chapters, it's like that's the climax of like the film of my life. It's like the turning point. That's like Act 3, the beginning of the final act.
That's when I knew my time was up.
Oh, no.
Ranger basically told you. He told you this is it. You're done. You're out of here. He put a hit on you. That's pretty good.
It's like a curse. He put a hex on me.
Yeah, he put a curse on me. That's what hands in the pudding is. It's a curse. We figured it out.
It's like
God.
Like the Pirates in the Black Spot kind of thing. Like I opened up the questions and read this question. It was
hands in the pudding. Get it off. Get it off.
Yeah, I just imagine Muppet Treasure Island where he's like, oh, trying to the black spot, just freaking out. Oh man. Anyways, so any games that you're gonna buy on Black Friday, Adrian?
So I'm waiting on. It's not gonna happen because they just brought it to Switch. But if Pizza Tower has a pretty decent sale, right now it's $20. But if they bring it down to like 15, I'll scoop on that. I'm hoping that I'm sure they will, but the Yakuza games, because I want to get 3 through 7. Yeah,
oh, okay.
I want to get 3. Yeah, because I already have 1 and 2. I have 0 Kiwami and Kiwami 2.
Okay.
And I want to get the rest of them just to have, so I can get to them when I get to them. Mm-hmm. So I think that would be one that I'll be on the lookout for. I know Persona 3 is probably going to be on sale, but I was telling you before the show that I want to play that on Switch 2 because I'm very certain that it's going to come out on Switch 2.
Is Persona 3 on the current Switch?
Yeah. The regular Persona 3 is, but not Reload.
Oh, really? The new one isn't on there on Switch?
Yeah, you're right. That's what I'm saying.
It is on there?
No, Reload is not on Switch, but it will be on Switch too. And I'm thinking it's because Switch can't handle it. I know it'll be. Right, but it's just weird that it can run 5 Royal and it can't run Reload. Like, I don't think Reload is that much more intensive, but who am I to say? I'm not a dev. But I can't see them not putting Reload on Switch. So I'll just play it there when it gets there. And then the same thing with Metaphor. I'm gonna wait for Switch 2 because I want to be able to have it with me at all times. So but to answer your question, Ranger, absolutely, if you have the means, get Metaphor. From what I am hearing and from the demo that I played, it is shaping up to be as good as Personas 3, 4, and 5. But honestly, we shouldn't have expected less from that team. Like, look at their track record. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But yeah, no, Pizza Tower, Yakuza. I don't think there's any big honestly, PlayStation games. Because I feel like I have all the marquee PS5 games at this point.
If Spider-Man 2 goes on a big sale, I might. That's not from this
year.
I know
it already.
I know he kind of asked about more games from this year, but I've not. I do not own it. I've not played Spider-Man 2.
Really? Huh.
It's yeah. I don't feel good about that because I love Spider-Man. I love Miles Morales, so it's insane that I haven't played Spider-Man 2. But when it came out, it was one of those things where I think there's a couple other games that came out at the same time that I ended up picking up. So I just was like, I don't have the money for that, and it wasn't as pressing to me as those other ones. But yeah, I never dip back in. So if that's on a super good sale where I can get Spider-Man 2,
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it was. Considering that, what?
Sorry, I was going to go on to my next pick, but you finish what you were saying first. Why do you think it'll go on sale? Probably because it's coming to PC soon, right?
It's coming to PC soon, and it's been out a while. Yeah. And they're going to need big hooks for their Black Friday sale. Mm-hmm. And Spider-Man 2 could be a really good one on console to make that happen.
Right.
Also, if Mario RPG or if Thousand Year Door goes on sale for maybe $39, because that's probably the lowest that Nintendo's going to let them go. I'll probably maybe scoop one of those two. I just have to flip a coin to see which one it's going to be. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. As far as games that came out this year, because his question's kind of about playing games from this year.
Yeah, those came out this year.
I mean, for me, I don't think there's anything else I'm interested in, honestly.
Yeah, it wasn't a whole lot.
Not a lot.
Oh, and Rebirth. Oh, if Rebirth goes on sale,
you got to get Rebirth. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like there was only a handful of games that I was excited about this year, and I got them all. And even then, I know that sounds like, oh, you could just buy whatever, but there weren't even that many. I'm scrolling through a list right now. I'm like, oh, there's maybe 3 or 4 games, and a couple of those are indie games, Balatro. I was like, and there's it's been smaller. Animal Well, it's right,
and that one ended up being free.
And then Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is one of the bigger ones, and so I'm just looking through a list. I'm like, I don't know anything else that I'd be interested in. I know and I guess to lead into question 2, which was kind of do we ever feel a mental deadline or some sort of pressure to be kind of part of the end of the year game of the year discussion? I think previously I did have that. When we first started this podcast, and for quite a few years, there's always we gotta play everything, whether we want to play it or not. Spent so much of our Patreon money just buying games that we touched once and then never touched again, or trying to play games I didn't really enjoy, or Adrian or JJ trying to play games and stuff like that, just to be able to talk about it. And then after a few years, it kind of turned into man, Yeah, but that's not fun. And like kind of the point of this podcast is just to have fun. So why don't we just play games that are fun to us, whether it came out this year or not, and talk about that. And honestly, like, I don't know if it's better or worse for the end product, but at least we're enjoying making this, you know, and this doesn't feel like work. You know, if I had the time to make this full-time job, then I would do that. You know, I would be fine working and playing games I didn't necessarily want to play just to review them and have a conversation. But when this is like a part-time hobby, you know, that we do for like
that we're not seeing
2 or 3 hours a week, and it's like, okay, like I'm not gonna kill myself, you know, buying everything. So
physically and financially.
So yeah, like originally, like that very much was the case, but I feel like the last few years, like probably 2-3 years, it's been like, no, you know what? Yeah, I don't feel the pressure anymore, and I mean, which has its pros and cons, because obviously when I'm asked to like, oh, come be on our like game of the year discussion, sometimes I feel like it's hard for me to come up with a few picks or anything like that, you know, like nominate stuff, because I don't have as wide of a swath of games that I'm picking from. But I don't know. I also feel like the ones I do pick generally are like, oh no, I really actually like these games. So like these are 100% my game of the year, because these are right up my alley and I would play them to death. But yeah, I don't know. What about you? Like, do you kind of feel like a pressure to like finish up a bunch of games, play a bunch of games by the end of the year for game of the year, or are you kind of in a similar boat?
Only games that I care about. I think I have a FOMO with. Like, for example, I know it's not going anywhere. And I know, you know, whenever I talk about it, I'm sure people are going to be interested to hear about it. But I am really, unfortunately, like kind of bummed that I'm not playing Brothership right now, Mario and Luigi Brothership.
Yeah.
But I just feel like I have so much to play right now. And honestly, I'd like to go back through the older games first, just to kind of get my bearings with Mario and Luigi again, because it's been so long. I think the last one I played was Superstar Saga. Recently, I played them all, but just to like get my brain back into the mode of like Mario and Luigi, I would love to revisit some of the older games and kind of get back into the swing and muscle memory of things.
Yeah. Totally.
And I know, of course, that's going to take a huge chunk of time to do. But at the same time, like I said, you know, Brothership will be there when it gets there. But whenever I talk about it, it'll be long past, you know, whenever it's hot. I'm sure I'm going to see a bunch of spoilers for it before I even get a chance to play it. You know, I've already accepted that. But to answer the question, or to go back to answering the question, it'd be but only with stuff that I've been looking forward to. There may be like other gargantuan like Call of Duty. I could care less about Call of Duty and missing that, you know, things of that nature. But if it's something that I'm looking forward to, then it sucks that I don't get to, you know, engage in the conversation when everybody is talking about the thing that I like. Not necessarily because it's popular. It's because I like it and it happens to be popular at that time. You know, how many people do you get to talk to talk about the Mario and Luigi series with, you know, any time of the year? Not very many, but everybody is talking about it right now, you know?
Yeah.
And so you're missing out on that conversation.
Yeah, 100%. I totally get that. Like when there's a game that you're just like been dying to play for so long, and it finally comes out, and then it's like, oh, but I can't, like not now, not yet. You know, I can't quite jump in there yet. Whether it's like financial or just like the amount of games you already have your hands in, you know, hands in the pudding.
Right.
If you have your hands in too many puddings.
Yes, of course. Too many puddings.
Too many puddings. But I'm trying to think. So as far as games, I guess if Star Wars Outlaws went on its big
That's
sale,
another one.
I might pick that up, because that was one of those games where when it came out, it got like people who loved it, and people who hated it. Like it was kind of like,
I don't think anybody hated it though. I think everybody said, it's not that great.
Yeah. I guess it was like kind of middle of the road, or like, and then there was like people who loved it, or it was just like kind of middling. And so
don't let that game be $35, dude. Don't let that game be $35. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Please.
So if it dropped down to a decent price, I might pick that up. And same with, I have not played Star Wars Jedi. What's the second one? Not because Fallen Order was the first one.
Fallen Order is right on the front of my brain. It's blocking everything.
whatever the second one was that came out like last year. I desperately want to play that because I love the first one. So if that goes on, it's really good.
Why can't I remember that?
I don't know. It's been killing me too. I can't remember the name.
Google it real quick. I can't move on until I know.
Are you looking it up?
No, I'm waiting for you to.
Oh, okay. I go Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Survivor. Thank you.
Yeah. If Jedi Survivor goes on sale, I might pick that one up as well. But yeah, otherwise. Oh, I forgot the HD remaster of Luigi's Mansion 2 came out on Switch.
Yeah, that sure did.
But the thing is, Nintendo games never go on sale. That's the problem.
No, they don't. So, and Dragon Quest is getting ready to come out. Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
Oh,
so that's another one to put on the list.
I was really excited about that. Oh, the Resident Evil remake. Resident Evil 4 remake from this year. I never got it. Silent Hill. Oh man, it's all flooding. It's all flooding to me now. Like, wait, there's actually a lot of games that I haven't played yet this year.
There was a lot of games that came out this year.
Why? Yeah, Resident Evil 4 remake. I was wanting to try because I've actually never played Resident Evil 4. I never played the original,
which is crazy to me.
And
that you haven't done that.
And then with Silent Hill 2 remake, I never played the original Silent Hill 2 either.
Also crazy to me that I've
never played any game in that series, and that's a series I've literally wanted to jump into for years and years and years, and I don't know why I haven't. So, we'll see.
Yeah, I feel like if we go down the list, you'll be like, oh, we'll both be like, oh, I forgot about that one. Oh, I forgot about that one, and I really wanted to play that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's probably just for the best that we don't look at the list because.
Well, while talking, I've been scrolling through a list, and surprisingly, I haven't seen much of anything. Like, it's a lot of random stuff. Surprisingly, this year, like a lot of random stuff I don't care about. But yeah, I think it's a good. Okay. All right, mods. Can you ban that person over on YouTube? Yeah, thank you. Thanks. There's someone named JJ Purdom who just commented and said, "You suck at life,
him
Garrett."
Out of here.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to. Let's see. I'll take the mods. No, we don't have a YouTube mods yet. Let me block this. All right, JJ, you can. Where were you when you're late for the show? You're supposed to be here an hour ago. We've been waiting for you for 2 years, dude. Where'd you go?
2 years.
You went for milk one day and never came back.
No, he's been trying to start up his computer this whole time. He's been waiting for it to start his laptop. One day it'll start, and then
guys.
We can get going.
Still booting up. I don't know what's going on. Oh man. Cool. That's it for that question. We did get another question from Uncle Gamer. Real quick, we can hit that since we just had the one from Ranger here.
Yeah.
Uncle Gamer in the chat or on Twitch says, "What game would you vote for to have a remake every new console?" So every time a new generation of consoles came out, what game would you love to have just an updated version of every single time?
Kind of like to show off like the power of it.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, but yeah, like I don't know.
I mean,
such an interesting concept. Like every time a new console comes out, they're like, "Oh, we've just remade whatever." I don't know.
To be honest,
that's basically what The Last of Us is.
Well, I mean, it is, but they also don't really do too much with it versus other games. I would probably say if you want to have like a landmark or a benchmark title, quite honestly, even though they keep pushing it out there and, we're like, okay, it's enough. But if you remade Horizon every PlayStation generation, just so you can see the leaps between, I think that's a good showcase of graphical fidelity.
Okay.
To show the differences between, let's say like they redo it for PS6 and you're able to look at, Forbidden West on PS5, and then PS6 is like, PS5, we were able to do this, this, and this, and this. And then PS5 Pro, we were able to upgrade this and, hit this frame rate and ray tracing and all that. And then when you do PS6, look at the jump we've even been able to make from that.
Yeah.
Now you can see individual hair follicles, or you can see, pollen coming off the leaves, or, it's just
whatever
crazy stuff that nobody would ever really think about.
Or like here now we finally have like PC grade ray tracing or whatever in games,
right?
You know, like even more so than the PS5 Pro was able to do. Yeah, right. That could be neat. Yeah, that's not a bad choice, honestly. As more of like a showcase thing, I guess. Like, but what about like a game you more like a series or a game that you are more passionate about? Like, is there one that you?
Oh, it'd be Ratchet and Clank.
Oh yeah, like every year they keep remaking Rift Apart.
Yeah, until honestly, it's so close to like a movie quality experience at this point. Like I feel like PS6 they can actually hit it. Like honestly, they can make it look like a film. Quite honestly, like it's like knocking on the door of looking like being film. Already the animation quality is already on par with film to me. So if they're able to like keep pushing the graphical fidelity just a little bit more, I think you can honestly get away with a game that looks like a movie. Yeah. So I would love to see that.
JJ Purdom over on YouTube says Last of Us. No, sorry, Little Nightmares.
Of course.
Still, I knew still playing the same two games he's always played. Yep. Yeah, nothing.
Well, he's got Little Nightmares 3 on the horizon. That's true. Maybe we'll have to bring him back to review that one. Little Nightmares 3, since he's the expert correspondent.
What's the other game that they're making too? Like that's supposed to be like scarier, like more intense Little Nightmares. What? Remember the studio? They're working on Little Nightmares 3, and then they also announced some other game that looks. Sick.
I know what you're talking about. I can't off the top of my head.
I'll look. Little Nightmares 3. Super
because it's not games. Technically it's not the 1 and 2 team that's making it. That's making 3. The 1 and 2 team is making whatever this new game is, I think. And then there's a different team making Little Nightmares 3.
Supermassive is making Little Nightmares 3. They're the ones who've done like Until Dawn, in those games and stuff. But yeah,
But the team that made 1 and 2 is making a different game, the one you're looking at or looking up.
Yeah. It's called Reanimal. Yeah. So Little Nightmares 3
is that the funky looking one that looked like stop motion?
No, it looks a lot like Little Nightmares basically, but it just is more darker and gruesome, which was interesting.
I mean, I'm down.
I feel like I remember it's still a co-op game too, a co-op horror game where you play as a brother and sister who go through hell to rescue their missing friends.
Right.
And it looks terrifying. But yeah, I guess I didn't realize that. So Little Nightmares 1 and 2 it was developed by a different company who's doing 3. So yeah, it's Supermassive doing 3, which is Supermassive. They're known for making great horror games, but I hope it doesn't affect the end product too much because Little Nightmares 1 and 2 are fantastic, and I'm just I kind of
bangers.
That doesn't have me worried because like Until Dawn and like some of the other horror games they've made are incredible, but it is interesting just to completely be like, oh yep, totally new developer for that game.
Right.
We'll see.
I'm not terribly worried because as far as content goes, like you said, they know their way around the horror genre, and Little Nightmares is like clearly is flirting with being a horror game more than anything else. So if anybody's going to take it over, I'm okay with the fact that it's them. I just don't know if they have the same sensibility. I'm sure they're in talks and collaboration with the 1 and 2 team, even while they're making, Reanimal. But you don't have those baked in sensibilities like the Little Nightmares 1 and 2 team would have. You're bringing your own flavor to it. So it could change the feel of it drastically, but we'll have to wait and see.
We will see. I guess I didn't really say an answer for this question. I don't know. I feel like it would be tricky because I don't know if I would want that. Like, I would just get tired of a constant remakes. I mean, I already am tired of a lot of the remakes, honestly. Like, some of them I'm excited for, but there's a lot of remakes that come out. I'm just like, why? Like, why do we need this? Like The Last of Us. So I don't know if I would. I feel like I'm kind of I'm leaning towards your initial answer, where if that is the case, where every console generation we're getting a remake of X game, whatever it is, I feel like it would have to be more of a showcase piece, showing off the technology and I would probably have to agree with you. Either Horizon Forbidden West or like one of the Horizon games, or even like a Ghost of Tsushima. That's a really pretty game. Like
yeah,
that would be
that
neat
could be
to
a good
see.
one.
Which that one I want to finish that. I'd started it back when it first came out, and now that the new one's coming out, I really need to get through that. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it would have to be more of like a tech demo type, like, hey, here's showing off how much better it looks from the previous one, which I know no one loves, but I just wouldn't want to. Surprisingly, I'm not going to pick something like one of my babies. I'm not going to pick like Metal Gear or Death Stranding because it's like, I don't know. I would just be scared like they start tweaking things too much and get too crazy with it and then start messing it up or something like that. I don't know. Like as much as I would love remakes of some of the older Metal Gear games, like it's cool we're getting Delta. I would love to see a remake of Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2, but also I just feel like we don't need that every 6, 7 years. Yeah, every 6 or 7 years. That seems excessive, but
I am just piggybacking off that, just thinking about it. I am so stoked for Delta. I am so stoked for you to love MGS3 like everyone else loves MGS3. I think this is going to be the thing that's going to, bring you over to the right side of history.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I am excited about it. Like watching, I just saw the new updated interview clips they put out where they revealed that the voice actor for Eva was the same voice actor as Ariel from The Little Mermaid.
I saw that. It was Jodie Benson the whole time. That's nuts.
So it was always a pseudonym. No one ever knew who the voice actor for Eva was. I mean, there was people who kind of pieced it together. Like she says that in the interview. She's like, yeah, like quite a few years ago, someone came to our booth. She was doing a signing somewhere. And, everyone else was bringing in Disney stuff because she's done multiple Disney roles, not just Ariel, but other voices too. And then like someone slid over like a copy of Metal Gear Solid 3 and she's like, why are you giving that to me? And the person was like, because you're in the game.
She's why.
How do you know?
You know why.
How do you know? And so, yeah, but like this is their first time like publicly announcing. I'm like, that is wild. Like all these years.
That's awesome.
Just keeping it quiet just because of her career was so reliant on all these like,
Disney
rated kids, Disney, to have this rated M, more mature character that she voiced. That she was worried it would, ruin her.
That's
like,
so cool. I'm glad she's able to like step into it now, and kind of own that.
Yeah, it was really neat. Like, yeah, the little reunion video. It was the voice actor for Snake, for Eva, and then for the boss. Like all three of them. I just love how. So like when Eva, like the what's her name, Jodie Benson and David Hayter were talking, like there's hints of their characters' voices in their voice, but they sound different. But I love how the voice actor for the boss, I forget her name, like her regular voice is just the boss's voice. Like she's talking, I'm just like, I feel like the boss is just like, she's not even like the other two like do voices. She's just talks, and that's the voice for the boss. I'm like, oh, that's honestly so cool. But all right, well, that's it for mailbag. We should probably
wait a minute.
What's going on?
Her name is
for the boss.
She's the same one that does oh my god,
Lori Allen.
Yes, she's been in other things, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I'm sure. She is Pearl Krabs in SpongeBob SquarePants.
Thank you. I was like, she is something else. I can't remember.
Yep. And she's the voice for Mom Sadness on Inside Out. But yeah, mainly she's done a lot of SpongeBob stuff for. That's crazy. The voice of the boss. This is Pearl from SpongeBob. That's wild, actually.
Acting. That's what it is. That's acting.
I know, but it's just like those voices are so different. But now, honestly,
somebody put a video up, and when you listen to it,
actually very similar.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Somebody said, "Daddy, I am defecting to the chum bucket." That's pretty good.
All right. Well, it's now time for the nerdy nudes.
It's now time for the nerdy news.
Too bad in the live stream, JJ won't get to hear that. You're his legacy, you're carrying the torch.
Somebody has to do it around here.
Someone's got to.
I fear that, with all this time that has passed, I think I have surpassed the master at this point.
Oh, definitely. I bet you if we brought in JJ next week rusty to the show, he wouldn't be able to do it. He wouldn't be able to hit it.
He'd be too rusty. He'd need a few times to shake it off. You know what I mean? To get back in gear.
And frankly, we don't have that kind of time. So, all right.
Oh, well.
This first news story comes to us from Wesley Yinpool over at IGN. Death Stranding surprise launches on Xbox Series X and S as Kojima Productions takes control of the IP. Death Stranding is finally on Xbox after Kojima Productions surprise announced the game's release on Xbox Series X and S. Hideo Kojima's first post-Metal Gear game first launched as a PS4 exclusive published by Sony Interactive Entertainment back in 2019 before releasing on PC a year later. Today, November 7th, 2024, Death Stranding Director's Cut is on Xbox Series X and S and Windows PC courtesy of publisher 505 Games, and alongside a 50% launch discount. The timing of the launch, which comes exactly 5 years after the PS4 exclusive release, suggests Sony's console exclusivity deal for Death Stranding is now expired. Kojima Productions will continue its focus on bringing their award-winning IP Death Stranding to more platforms and audiences, a note to press reads. Meanwhile, Kojima Productions announced that it now has full ownership of Death Stranding intellectual property. Hideo Kojima said, "It is my pleasure to finally announce that Death Stranding Director's Cut will be delivered to Xbox players. I would like to thank all the fans who have stayed connected with us, as well as everyone in the Xbox community who have been patiently waiting. Kojima Productions will continue to connect more and more players around the world, so please stay tuned." It's a busy time for Kojima, and there's a lot more from an official blurb, but it basically says the same thing. You get the gist. It's a busy time for Kojima and for Death Stranding. Its sequel, Death Stranding 2 On the Beach, is due out as a Sony-published PS5 exclusive in 2025, and a movie based on the first game is in the works. Elsewhere, Kojima is working on OD for Xbox Game Studios and Fizzant for Sony Interactive Entertainment. Could Death Stranding's launch on Xbox signal an eventual Xbox release for Death Stranding 2 further down the line? Yes, I think that's exactly what that means.
100%.
I think what I'm guessing is from here on out, any game franchise or IP that Hideo Kojima creates and works on will have an expiration date of exclusivity. So that way it ultimately always comes back to him. Because I just couldn't imagine spending decades in a world with Metal Gear Solid. And granted, for a long time he was done. He always was just I don't know if I'm going to make another game. I think I'm done with it. I don't have much story left to tell. So on one hand, it's kind of him losing it probably wasn't terrible, but I'm sure there's a small part of him that's less I spent 30 years of my life working on this game series, and just to be yoink, it's gone.
Well, that's why, right? That's why he's so adamant these days about making sure that my IP comes to me so that this never happens to me again. Yeah. Also, not only was it something that he worked on for so long, but he was incredibly passionate about it, as passionate as he is about Death Stranding, right? He may not like to say it too much or, have to infer it, but Metal Gear is his baby.
Yeah.
That got taken from him, or that wasn't, he didn't get ownership of it, proper ownership like he should have. Yeah. So I can totally understand him not wanting to do that. The thing about it is that kind of kills me, or not kills me, but impresses me, is that the fact that he had enough pull to get that kind of a deal with Sony.
Right.
To where he gets those IP rights back. Have you heard of them doing that with really anybody, giving them the IP back? Not really ever.
No.
If it is, it's been few and far between.
There's a lot of times where they hold on to that with an iron grip, and even if it just means the IP ends up dying. There's so many IPs that they have control of that just die off and thrown in the back of the closet and forgotten about. But it's okay, that could have gone with someone else to someone else, and it's like, nope, we're gonna over our dead body kind of thing. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
So the fact that they were able to work that out, and like he was able to get that, it's impressive, honestly. Some impressive negotiating skills going on over there. Or Sony was just that desperate at the time for some new games.
That's what I was gonna say.
They were desperate for not only just new games, but a new game from Hideo Kojima. Like, heck yeah, we'll do whatever you want. So
to get it exclusive, yeah.
What honestly struck me too is reading this article about all of his upcoming stuff. I was just like, man, like, what a sweet gig he has now. Because it mentions like, they're working on the sequel, Death Stranding 2 with Sony. So it's like they have a new deal with Sony coming up. Or
the A24 Death Stranding movie.
There's an A24 movie. So he's like working with A24. They're backing, it's like all these other companies like Xbox also backing OD. Sony is backing Fizzent, Fizzent. So it's like, man, he's got everything figured out.
Busy.
Like, he's busy. But he's got the whole business thing figured out. Like all these other people are like bankrolling all this stuff, publishing all this stuff for him. And he's just like,
I'm not mad at it. He's playing the books. He's figured out the system. And also though, it's fun to say that, but like he has also earned the position that he's in with the titles that he's made. He's made games that have like quite literally changed games as an art form. Oh, 100%. So if anybody has the clearance or, you know what I mean, the respect to be able to do something like that, it's him. I don't think there's very many people in games that are as recognizable or as like unilaterally respected as Kojima. Yeah. So, and I know people love to play like he's kind of weird. He's a weird guy. He's really eccentric, which he is. But at the same time, you can't deny dude knows how to tell a story. Dude knows how to make a game.
Yeah, people talk about, even with his stories, are like how off the wall. Like, man, like this is so like this, that, the other thing. Like everyone has their complaints, but then people also just keep coming back and eat it up.
And
like it's like back. Okay, like if it's
and then the essay videos start coming out. Yeah, the essay videos start coming out. Oh man, the story in this game is just so layered and it's so deep. And then more and more start coming out about theories and think pieces that people have. And it's like, wait a minute, I thought you guys said he was a hack. What's going on? Is he or is he not? Or did you just want to be cool and say Kojima's a hack, but real, like, undercover, you actually really thought it was great? Like, what are we doing? Dude's an auteur. I'll call him that all day long.
Yeah. He's brilliant.
He's brilliant, man.
Don't know what to say. Call me a fanboy all you want. I'll proudly claim that, He puts out good stuff. What can I say?
He puts out great stuff.
The only bad game of his I've ever played was Metal Gear Solid 3. So, no.
All right. Okay. Next story. Let's go. How dare you?
Oh, sorry. Metal Gear Solid 5.
Next story.
This next
You're gonna
story.
Get us killed.
This next story comes to us from Game Rant, written by Dominic Bosniak. Nintendo gives update on Switch 2 backwards compatibility. The Switch 2 will be backwards compatible. Nintendo has confirmed this key feature has the potential to do wonders for the Switch successor's early adoption rate. On November 5th, Nintendo released its latest financial report for the first half of its current fiscal year. The Switch 2 was mentioned during the subsequent earnings call when Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa reiterated the plan to announce the highly anticipated device by March 31st, 2025. A few more details about the upcoming console were shared at the company's corporate management policy briefing that followed. Specifically, Furukawa confirmed that the much-rumored Switch 2 backward compatibility is real. Switch software will also be playable on the successor to the Nintendo Switch, the executive said. Additionally, Furukawa revealed that the upcoming console will have a Nintendo Switch Online, thus being the company's second ever system to support the subscription service. The confirmation of NSO support and backwards compatibility for the Switch successor may not come as a surprise to the most attentive of fans, but Furukawa already hinted at these capabilities all the way back in June 2023 when he said the Switch 2 will utilize Nintendo accounts and aim to deliver a smooth transition for owners of its predecessor. But reading between the lines, NSO support might even hint at the name of the upcoming device, assuming the service won't get rebranded. Nintendo's next console is likely to incorporate the word Switch in its official name, because offering a subscription called Nintendo Switch Online on a device with a completely different name is something that a subset of consumers may find confusing. Therefore, it's plausible that this company will opt for another Wii U-like naming scheme that simply expands the name of the previous device rather than ditches it completely. Such a moniker would align with Nintendo's stated goal of delivering the next Switch, which Furukawa said was the aim back in May 2024. Ditto for the newly confirmed backwards compatibility support. Given the massive library of Switch games spanning over 11,700 titles, this feature will ensure that the upcoming console has access to a gigantic launch lineup. As such, the Switch 2 backwards compatibility will likely be a key factor in helping the console generate early commercial momentum, but how exactly it will work in practice remains to be seen. So this is all stuff that necessarily, like they said in the article, like if you've been paying attention, this isn't all that new, honestly. Like if you've been paying attention, it's like, all right, you've probably knew a lot of this stuff was happening, but
right.
It's nice to get official confirmation of it.
Right. But did we ever really think that it wouldn't be backwards compatible with the original Switch titles? Like in your heart of hearts, were you ever worried that it wasn't going to be?
I think I always assumed it would be backwards compatible. You're right. I think I always just assumed of course it's going to be backwards compatible. But at the same time, just because there's been, how over the past couple of years, there's been the random patents that are coming out where people are speculating, like, is it going to have dual screens? Are the controllers going to be magnetic, or are they going to be attached solid to the system? You can't take all this weird stuff. So I think for me, it's like, yeah, it makes sense for it to be backwards compatible. But at the same time, it's also like, well, okay, but if the Joy-Cons don't come off, or if it's like a redesign, like how does that work with playing backwards compatible titles with like a Joy-Con, that type of thing? So in theory, it's like, yeah, of course it would be, right? But then on the other side, it's always like, oh, but could they really screw the pooch here and not go back for whatever reason?
The biggest indicator was when they were talking about, they had that blurb. I think it was on either their website or somebody, found it from a investors meeting where they were talking about how much work they were putting into making the Nintendo account a thing, so they can transfer the purchases and let the user take them on along with them to other hardware. So if they're going to invest that much into making your Nintendo account like your big account for everything that you do with them, why would they do all that if they weren't going to let you take your games forward?
Yeah.
And if they were going to do it from Switch 2 forward, they would have already they could have waited until, Switch 2 was well on its way to announce, oh yeah, you're going to be able to take your Switch 2 games forward. Why talk about it now if you weren't going to do it from this Switch to the next Switch? So, but it wasn't even really that set it off. It was just more that solidified it. I just couldn't see Nintendo having the library that they have with the Switch and then just letting it stay there. Yeah, that's nuts.
Like they have some massive hits on there, from
some all timers on that console, and you just let them sit there.
Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Odyssey,
2 Xenoblades, Kirby, potentially
4.
Metroid Prime 4.
Metroid Prime 4. Yeah, it's like there's some heavy hitters over there. It'd be wild of them to just be like, yep, bye-bye.
Yeah, that wasn't gonna happen. If I'm Nintendo, that's a bad decision to make.
Yeah. Not surprising, but it also, I'm glad to have the confirmation just to put my mind at ease. Because again, like that, it's, again, in theory, I always just assumed of course, I believed it in my heart of hearts. Like, yeah, it's going to be backwards compatible, but there's always that little tinge like, man, what if it's just gone? Like, granted, just because my library's gone doesn't mean I can't play it. I can just keep a Switch.
Right,
around,
you can just,
but it's nice to have it just in one place, not have to keep worrying about it.
And they might get little upgrades. You never know. I'm not expecting them, but it'd be nice if they did.
I mean, to be able to play, what was it, Legend of Zelda
Oh, Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom at 60, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I was even going to say, what was the one remake they did? And it was like getting
Link's Awakening
30 or like it was get all stuttery and janky and stuff. Like imagine that even at like just a solid 30 or get that at 60. Like that game was so gorgeous, like cute little like,
yes,
you know, like the
Kirby, getting Kirby at 60. Oh
yeah.
It's gonna be so good. I can't wait.
And even if it's able to do like 4K, because right now it only maxed out at 1080p. Like imagine like we can finally get like up-res assets.
To be honest,
4K at least,
I'd be fine with a solid 1080p. I would love a 1080p handheld version, like a 1080p 60 on handheld, and then when you dock it goes 1440 60.
That's what I'm saying. When I say 4K, I'm talking about like in docked mode, because you know I actually don't really play Switch. I can't remember the last time I played it in handheld mode. Like I always play it docked, which is so funny because it's like a handheld device, and I mainly play handheld devices, but the last year I've probably mainly played it docked, but it's always because we're playing like party mode with friends, like so it's always like Mario Party, Mario Kart, that type of stuff,
right?
But yeah, I'd like to be able to like play those in a higher res, like on console and docked. Like, ooh, that would be sick. That's what I'm hoping for. Get that like
fingers
pro
crossed.
Treatment. Get that PlayStation Pro treatment, you know?
Yes.
All right. This last news story comes to us from PC Gamer, written by Lincoln Carpenter. Palworld developer reports Nintendo suing over 3 Pokemon patents for only $66,000 in damages. But a video game IP lawyer says fighting the lawsuit could mean burning millions of dollars. Today, Palworld developer Pocket Pair published a report detailing the terms of the intellectual property lawsuit Nintendo filed against the studio in September. When Nintendo announced its lawsuit, it alleged the Palworld infringes multiple patent rights, but didn't specify which patents were being claimed, leaving us to speculate about whether Nintendo was bringing its legal cannons to bear over third-person Pokeball throwing. Thanks to Pocket Pair's report, we finally have confirmation about the patents forming the basis for Nintendo's infringement allegations. Nintendo's lawsuit claims that Palworld infringes on 3 Japanese patents, 7545191, 7493117, and 7528390. Did you get that?
Yes, of course. I already have it written down. Don't worry about it.
Good.
Actually, I have it memorized. Excuse me.
I'm going to be asking you to also read the documents later on here, so to get those ready.
Okay.
A trio granting Nintendo protections on creature catching and riding mechanics. Pocket Pair's report details the application and registration dates of the patents in question, all 3 of which were filed by and granted to Nintendo in the months following Palworld's release in January 2024. However, each filing asserted in the lawsuit is a continuation of a series of patents Nintendo had originally filed in 2021 during the development of Pokemon Legends Arceus. As IP attorney Kirk Sigmund explained in an interview with PC Gamer in September, patent continuations called divisional patents in Japanese legal practice allow a patent holder to specify additional claims as an extension of the original patent. As you go through this process and file divisionals, continuations, whatever you're drafting, you are drafting claims that are more and more tailored toward assertion, Sigmund said. You know more about what you can get and what you can't, and what you can do is, if you know who you're going to sue, you can draft claims to target them. Nintendo had also filed divisional patents after Pocket Pair started releasing Palworld gameplay footage, suggesting that Nintendo might have begun sculpting additional patent filings well in advance of its eventual lawsuit. Isn't that wild? So even though these were all all these patents are from after the game came out, they're able to basically tie them onto a patent that existed in 2021, even though they're different patents. It's like, oh, but it's all part of this original one. And even this line here where like basically like Nintendo, like when the first trailer for Palworld came out, Nintendo filed patents in anticipation of to basically sue Palworld. Right. That is crazy to me. Like that's so scummy. Like
I was gonna say, this is the other side of Nintendo that I can't stand is the litigation, legalese, like, you know what I mean? Big bully IP protector part of Nintendo. Like we just got done talking about how rad Nintendo is like as a developer and all that stuff. But when the legal arm or the business arm of Nintendo ever gets mentioned, it's never good news. It's always something slimy that they're doing, or they're suing somebody who makes $50,000 a year for like $2.3 million, so they have to pay him for the rest of their life. It's like, come on, man. Is this all really necessary? Like, Palworld was never going to make that much. It wasn't going to make a fraction of what Pokemon actually makes. Like, just let them make their money.
I get protecting your IP. Like, if there's some, like, if it was me, like if I put some out there as a small like indie developer, or if it was a video I made or whatever it was, like I would be mad if it was like if ideas from it were stolen and reused other places or just straight up ripped. But honestly, Garrett, did people actually think of Pokemon with like, did you really think this was a Pokemon game? Like, even if it had Pokemon-like creatures, you know what's Pokemon and you know what's not Pokemon. And this is not Pokemon. I mean, and even the lawsuits that they are, or the patents that they're filing for, like, it has to do with catching, but part of it is catching, but then the other part of it is riding mechanics. I don't remember ever riding something in a Pokemon game other than a bike, I guess. What are you talking about? You fly on Pokemon, you surf on Pokemon. Yeah, but you don't ever all the time. And in Sun and Moon, you ride on Pokemon's back to get through the rocky areas. You ride on Pokemon a lot. I guess so, but I guess my experience. You guys all know I haven't played past Ruby. Like that's the one I play. I played. Okay, so that makes sense why you wouldn't. I played Red and Yellow, Silver and Crystal, and then Ruby. And that was it, Ruby. I never really played like anything beyond that. And so for me, riding on a Pokemon, like you're right, it did happen, but it was either like a quick like video, like 2-second picture that flashed up that basically be like, oh, you're flying now. Riding. Yeah. Or if you were like doing surf, it's like a 2D pixel sprite. Like it's not compared to like, it's nothing 3D. So for me, it just seemed bizarre. It's enough for Nintendo to be able to point and say, "No, see, we did that first." But that's what I'm get like. I haven't played more modern Pokemon games that do incorporate riding mechanics. So I'll take that. I'm wrong on that because there are riding mechanics. I just never thought of it like that because of my Pokemon experience is so long ago. But. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so I didn't even get to like the headline here. So basically, Pocket Pair also reports that Nintendo is seeking an injunction against Palworld, which would halt sales of the game until infringing mechanics are removed. Considering that the patents Nintendo is asserting seem to cover some of the Palworld's basic mechanics, removing and replacing them seems like it would take a lot of work. Additionally, Nintendo is seeking a combined 5 million yen, which is about $33,000 plus late payment damages, each for both itself and the Pokemon Company. So that's why it comes out to $66,000. Scummy. To pay Nintendo and Pokemon both. They didn't actually infringe on our patents, but we're going to try to figure out any kind of way we can to stop them from being able to sell this game. Scummy. It is. As soon as I read that, though, as soon as I read like the $66,000 that they're going to owe, I'm like, I thought two things. The first thing is like, that's it. Like Nintendo, but that makes more sense. I was like, why would Nintendo pursue this for $66,000? But it's to lock it down. It's not about that. Yeah. It's about locking it down and making a point. But then the second thing I thought of is like, remember quite a few months ago, there was an article like after Palworld came out about how, well, they have the quote here. Or no, they don't have the quote here. There was one time like the developers basically came out and was like, we're making so much money, we don't know what to do with it all. Well, here you go. Here's something to do with it. Here you go, dummy. You should have kept your mouth shut. You came out and did a bunch of interviews and talked about how, like, hand over fist, you guys are just making cash and don't know what to do with it. Wow. Making it rain on top of Nintendo's head. And they said, oh, okay, we'll show you. We'll fix you. And here they are trying to do it. But it's more about making a statement, and they could care less about the money. They just want that game gone and not being able to be sold at this point. So because like they said, like some of those mechanics are part of like that's like the main gist of the game. Like, how do you change that enough to not infringe on the patent without completely changing the game, basically? Right. Like, do they just come out with Palworld 2.0 and just like, hey, yep, it's a brand new game with totally new mechanics, you know? Like, how do you do that?
Well, I mean, the big thing was that it was so Pokemon adjacent, right? So like if they have to make a new game with all new designs, people aren't going to mess with it. Not nearly as much as the first one, because that's what they see the familiarity of, like, oh, that kind of looks like this Pokemon. Oh, that kind of looks like this Pokemon. But if you make a game with completely new monsters, it's not gonna fly.
They didn't get sued over the Pokemon designs. Nintendo didn't care about that.
No, they didn't. They wanted listen. They wanted to sue them over this, but they couldn't because it technically did not infringe. Yeah. So the game mechanics is the only way that they could get to them to make them stop selling the game. They didn't really want to sue them over game mechanics, but that's all they had to be able to try to figure out a way to get them to stop selling that game. Yeah. That's really, realistically, them taking their designs and them taking like the captures and all that. That's what's really irking Nintendo, but they know they legally can't do anything about it. So they're like, what else can we do to stop this game? And that's where the mechanic complaint came in.
Yeah. Yeah. Wild. Absolutely wild.
Slimy.
Yeah, a little bit slimy. Yeah, well, that's it for the nerdy nudes this week. And with that, I believe it's time for a Patreon ad.
Hit it.
All right, this is the part of the show where I learn how to speak. This is the part of the show where I tell you to go over to patreon.com/supergamerboys, where you can support. Adrian, help me.
What's going on? Are you okay?
I can't talk. I've had too much.
You want me to do it?
I've had too much water. I'm drunk on water, Adrian. Slurring my speech over here. I can't talk.
Good grief. Take a second. Let's get a good inhale, exhale.
Okay.
All right, let's do this.
This is the part of the show where I tell you to go over to Super Game Boys. Nope. One more. This is it. Clean take. Ready? And all right. Oh man, see, if you support us on Patreon, you don't have to listen to this disaster, this train wreck right now.
Oh.
This is the part of the show where
you're lying. Give me the script. Give me the script. Give it here.
This is the part of the show.
You're joking.
Where I tell you to go over to patreon.com/supergameboys and support us over there, starting at just $1 a month. That's right.
Thank you.
You can. Poor A-Train. He's like, I just need to go. Oh man. You can support us over there starting at just $1 a month. That's right. $1 each and every month gets you episodes early and ad-free, such as this show, as well as access to our Patreon exclusive shows like Super Later Boys, previous seasons of Super Gamer Book Club, and an entire backlog of all of our stuff ad-free. So if you want to start listening through other shows like Super Dungeon Boys, previous episodes of this show, Super Gamer Boys, whatever it might be, go check it out. All ad-free over there, as well as, like I said, some of those Patreon exclusive content. We also have a $5 tier. You can support us there and get the previous perk, early and ad-free content. And also you get to see the show notes for Super Gamer Boys podcast, this very show. So you know exactly what we're going to be talking about, whether it is, what news stories, what games we're going to be playing, or we've been playing, sorry. I still can't talk. Good thing Adrian's not here. So yeah, you'll hear about the news stories, games we've been playing, listener questions, all of it. You see the doc I have right now in front of my face that I'm trying to read a script from. You can see that. Leave your own questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, whatever you want, and get your voice heard here on the show. Because when I see a comment down there, I'm going to read it here for the folks to hear. So think about supporting us at $5 a month to get access to that. $10 a month, you get all those previous perks and a big old shout out at the top of each and every episode. You might notice that at the beginning of the episode, we read through our Patreon producers and Super Gamer sponsors. So that's what that $10 and what I'm about to talk about, that $15 tier gets you. So yeah, above the $10 tier, we also have our Patreon producers, $15 a month. You can be If you want to be awesome like those folks, you get all the previous perks I've mentioned. Plus, you get the ability to pitch a segment for the show, whether you want to pitch a new segment within this show, or maybe pitch a new show altogether, or maybe a new little fun TikTok short, Instagram short, YouTube video, whatever it might be. Kind of new content that might be fun to do. It could be something we do, could be something you do. We've had some fun ones through the years. Adrian, back in the day, when he was a Patreon producer, did Super Indie Boys, which is a fun little segment within our show that we would do. Kojima's Card Game Corner was a running segment that we had within the show for a bit and then moved over to social media for a while. That was a fun one. But yeah, all sorts of fun ideas we've had through the years. So if you're like, yeah, I think this could spice up the show a little bit, spice up our channels, Instagram, social media, YouTube, whatever. Think about supporting us at $15 a month. Pitch a segment, and if we like it, we'll go with it. If not, well, then we won't. But honestly, that's rarely happens. We've gone with most ideas, and it's been a blast. So think about it. Support us at patreon.com/supergamerboys. You can also support us by going to sgbstore.com, buying some sweet merch. We got our classic collection available. We got Summer Gamer Boys collection available. Lots of fun stuff over there. So go check it out. Get some sweatshirts, get a hoodie for the winter time here, or get a couple mugs. Get a mug so that way you can drink some nice, get cozy, cuddle up in a blanket, play some video games, and sip some tea or hot cocoa out of your Super Gamer Boys mug. So check it out, sgbstore.com. And last but not least, I always want to mention this because it's a free way you can support us. It costs you $0. So if you have an Amazon account, you can link that to your Twitch account. If you happen to be watching live right now on Monday nights when we record the show, or if you're another time while we're live, if we're doing a fun little gaming stream, Adrian or I, you can link your Amazon account to your Twitch account, and that gives you one free Prime gaming subscription to use each and every month. You have to remember to re-up it. It's not automatic like the typical subscriptions are. But if you're a regular here, then you'll hear this every week and you will be reminded. So if you forgot, if that's lapsed, think about dropping that on us again. We'd really appreciate it. If you've never used it on us, please think about using it on us this month or, in a future month. Maybe you have your months planned out or you have different friends of yours that you're using it on. We would love it if you drop that on us. It costs you $0. We still get the standard kickback that we would get with any like a typical, $6 Twitch sub. So think about dropping that. That also gives you access to ad-free viewing on our Twitch channel and access to our emotes. So you get more perks too. You're not just helping us out, you're also getting stuff in return. So think about it. Subscribe on Twitch with your real money or for free with a Prime Gaming sub. All right. And with that, I think it's now time to get back to the show. I made it, Adrian. I made it all the way through. It was rough, but we got there.
I'm proud of you. I thought I heard a flub, but it sounds like you recovered swimmingly. So I'm not gonna begrudge you for that.
All right.
It's okay.
Thank you, Pocket Poppy.
You're welcome.
All right. It's that time of the show, Adrian, where I should ask you this question, but I'm scared I'm going to mess it up. So I'm going to say it nice and slow so I don't mess up any syllables like I did in the ad.
Okay.
Adrian.
Yes, sir.
What have you been playing?
Okay. What have I been playing?
Did I say that slow enough?
I think you did. I think that came through just fine, crystal clear, and all that jazz. I have not been playing a whole lot, believe it or not, this past week or so. I just kind of been out and about. I was out of town for the past weekend too, just kind of, seeing some friends, hanging out, whatnot. So
living the game
really
of life.
playing
the game of life.
Quite literally, which I should do more often. But when I did, I had my little DS with me. And I don't know why, but I just kind of popped into Mario Kart DS.
Okay.
Every so often, when I had like a free few minutes. I think it was just because you can get in, get a quick race in, and put it back in sleep mode, call it a day. But yeah, that was like the main thing that I personally was playing. I did play a game or two with the people that I was with when I was out of town. We played, I don't know if you've heard of Moving Out. It's a co-op indie game where you're working together to move furniture out of a house.
It's basically
so we played a few rounds of that.
Overcooked.
It's overcooked, but moving.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've seen gameplay of that. Actually, I think I played a little bit of it because it was on Xbox Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
When it first came out, and I think I did like a tutorial and like a first, because you can play a single player still, right? But it's just like more fun with friends.
Yeah, you can play a single player if you want to make yourself miserable.
Yeah, I think I played like the first couple levels. I'm like, oh, this would be fun co-op, and then never found friends who were playing it. So,
right
back in the days when I had Game Pass, I haven't had that in a while. But
oh man, I'm really hoping Xbox like comes out swinging. And I'm tired of saying that because I've been saying that for 5 years now. And they rarely, if the only time they've come out swinging once.
When?
And,
When?
Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah. That's true.
And then everything else was like mid to okay to pretty good. Even Hellblade was like, they were supposed to come out swinging with it. And everybody was like, oh, it's cool. It looks really good. But
that
as a game is cool. Came
and went, and I can't think of a single peep I heard about it, good or bad. I honestly, I never even looked up reviews. I never heard any reviews.
That's the worst sin. The worst sin is to be just okay, to where nobody has anything good to say or nobody has anything bad to say, because you're not remembered for anything.
Like, I feel like
people remember Superman 64 to this day because it's a terrible game. It's one of the worst games of all time. But if nobody has anything to say about your game, that's the worst hell you can be in.
I follow a lot of gaming accounts on Twitter, and now that I think of it, yeah, like when that came out, I can't think of a single article that even popped up in my feed. Like, I honestly don't know one thing about the Hellblade 2. Like, that's blowing my mind right now.
I'm not dumping on the game.
I know that sounds like really like whatever or stupid, but like that's honestly blowing my mind right now. Like, it's kind of like I'm having this weird like, wait, did that game actually even come out? Because as far as in my reality, like if you would have asked me, I would have said it hadn't even come out yet. But
that's exactly
that it's come out and we didn't hear anything about it. That's blowing my mind.
So,
yeah.
So that's what I've been playing. Just a little bit of that, a little bit of Mario Kart DS and some Moving Out technically, but yeah, just something I could pick up and put down as needed.
Yeah.
But nice. You, good sir, were you able to get into anything this past week?
Yes, I played. Just a little bit of something. I didn't have a lot of time for games this week as well. Now that I have a job, I come home and basically I just go to bed. I'm tired.
Welcome to the family. Welcome to the.
And then weekend is like family time, which is great, but it also means like no game time on weekends either. But this last Saturday, I had a couple hours in the morning to play something, and I picked up a game that I wanted so badly to stream for Spooky Gamer Boys, but again, no time for that to happen. Too busy, unfortunately. So I was bummed I didn't get to share the experience with you folks on Twitch. But I started playing. Let me just double check the full. Yeah, okay, here it is. It's called Faith, the Unholy Trinity. This is it's an indie game. Made by,
you did mention this.
I think just one dude. Faith is a survival horror video game developed by Airdorf Games for Windows. The game consists of 3 chapters. The first 2 were self-published by Airdorf Games in October 2017. in February 2019, respectively, while the third was published by New Blood Interactive in October of 2022 as part of Faith the Unholy Trinity, stylized as blah, blah, blah. Compilation of all 3 chapters with additional features. The game uses retro graphics similar to graphics of an Apple II or an Atari 2600. So that's what I love about it, is it has insane art style that's just like, I mean, that's barely 8-bit, right? That's even less, like it looks like an Atari game, right? So imagine,
but you're not scaring me off yet.
But that's the thing, like it's what they're able to do with those like so few pixels is absolutely terrifying. From like the ambiance, like the soundtrack, the sound effects, there's jump scares at times, but there's also just moments. There's just like such uneasiness, because it'll go from like a lot of the game is this top-down view, and you have like your little character walking around the screen, and again, think like Atari game, so it's nothing crazy, and then all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, like this demon comes off from the side of the screen, like crawling on all fours, like and like talking, like screaming like crazy things at you. And then you're a priest, so that's the idea. The player controls a priest as he first attempts to complete a failed exorcism, then tries to prevent the summoning of a great demon. The player's main character is a crucifix, so you hold up your crucifix to ward off the demons, which damages and slows enemies when held aloft. It can also exorcise possessed objects, which typically reveal notes that expand upon the game's plot or provide hints related to the puzzles. So yeah, you can use it to fight demons, or you like go up to like a possessed object, hold up your crucifix, and it kind of like flashes, and then boom, a little like note falls off it, and you go pick it up, and it gives you like more lore and story and stuff like that. Now I'm a huge fan of like kind of like analog horror. I don't know if you're familiar with like kind of that genre of horror stuff. Like, if you like search up like is it called like the Mandela Project is one, and then there's a few other ones, but there's some like, think of like, basically it looks like old like VHS grainy like videotapes and stuff like that, like training videos, and it's horror in such a weird way. Like it's like almost like random cuts and not necessarily jump scares, but just like the whole point of it's like not only to give you a sense of uneasiness, but like oh, I feel like I'm being watched right now kind of thing. That's what this game does so well, with what little voice acting is in it. It's like it sounds like an Apple II computer, like think like a creepier version of Super Gamer Bot, basically. Like a really robotic, like creepy, like talking with the graphics, and that's what I was going to say with the art style. So it cuts from the gameplay is all top down, think like Pitfall on Atari or something like that. And then when there's like moments where you get like cut scenes, and it goes to like a first person perspective, and it's still like the super simple pixel graphics, but they do such an incredible job of like conveying you like a first person view in these graphics, and it's gorgeous, like what they do with it, honestly, but also like so terrifying, like seeing something like slowly crawl up over the edge of a bed, and like the awkward animation style, like it's like almost like too it's like jittery and stuff like that, like incredible. Basically it's analog horror like video, but in a game. It's just fantastic. Everything about it I love. But
you're not saying anything that I'm not liking right now. I just want you to know that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed my time playing it. There's some like weird, like obscure things I was having trouble. Like, I don't understand, like why isn't this? And eventually you just figure it out. I don't know. Which I kind of like, honestly. Initially I was kind of like frustrated, like, man, why can't I get past this part? But I love how there's, even as simple as it is, there's still bits to it where it's like, oh, it's there's some good puzzles in there, or good, like, there's some problem solving you have to do. It's not like you're just waltzing through this game, holding up your crucifix at everything and winning. So yeah, check out the trailer even. So look up Faith the Unholy Trinity, and it's like just the trailer like gave me the willies. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be a good game. So it's 3 chapters to it. Like right in the main menu, it says, do you want to do chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, or just play it all in one go as a marathon? So I just did chapter 1. I haven't finished it yet. Loving it. I don't know what the other 2 chapters, if they're different stories, different characters, I have no idea. But yeah, what I've been playing so far with chapter 1 is very good. So like I said, it was like a failed exorcism. You play as Catholic priest John Ward. September 21st, 1987. You return to the Martin residence in a rural Sterling, Connecticut to finish the botched exorcism of a 17-year-old Amy Martin. Exactly 1 year earlier, Amy killed her parents, John's superior, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it was like, I don't want to spoil too much of the game, but like basically exorcism went wrong. You left, you just bailed. The whole family was killed. Your
responsible
superior Father Elred was killed. And you were just been weighing on you for so long. And you're like, no, I got to go finish what was started.
I have to finish the fight.
Yeah. And that's just chapter 1. And I think it's interesting. Very cool. So go check it out. Or at the very least, go watch a trailer. If you're interested in any sort of like horror stuff, like analog horror, it's pretty cool. And it's out on PC. And I think the reason I heard about it is because it got announced for Switch. It's out on Switch now as of, I think, just this year. Yeah, October 10th, 2024.
Now
Switch.
You're speaking my language.
So check it out.
I can get it on the platform that matters.
and I think, and it seems like it's pretty short. Like I played for this couple hours and I'm almost done with chapter 1 already. So it's maybe like 5-6 hours tops if I had to guess.
That works out.
But yeah, so that's it. I wanted to play some Death Stranding. But I didn't have a chance because I've been listening through the Super NPC radio. They've been on their Patreon. They're going through the Death Stranding book club, and I've been loving it. It's so fun hearing their thoughts on the game. It's so great hearing them come around on it because initially they were so upset that they had to do this game for a book club.
That's how everyone is until they actually play the game and they're like, oh wait, this actually rips. I don't know what I was talking about. I wasn't familiar with your game.
Like to listen to the first episode, I was actually kind of bummed out a little bit. Like I heard, I'm like, oh man, like they're hating on it so much. Like maybe like if they're going in it with that attitude, I don't know if they'll come around on it. But I love like literally the next episode, they're all like, dude, like Connor's like, I can't stop playing this game, dude. Like I'm loving it. I'm like, heck yeah, got him. We got him.
We got him.
So good.
We got one.
But yeah.
Also, because that came up, happy belated birthday, Low Roy. Right? Or is it his birthday today?
Is it his birthday or today the day he passed?
It's one of the two. I thought it was his birthday, no?
I don't know. I don't remember. But yeah, it is 11/11 is something. I just know I saw the post that like, hey, 11/11 at 7 p.m., your time, listen to some Low Roar and light a candle for him. But yeah, I couldn't remember if it was.
Well, it's a day of remembrance regardless. I could have swore I thought it was his birthday. But
it might have been his birthday. It might have been his birthday. That makes sense. But yeah, man, gone too soon. Yeah. I'm excited for the next album though. His buddy finished up because all the vocals were done. So his buddy like finished the album and I'm like, oh, I cannot wait to hear that. It's going to be such an intense album to listen to, just with
the weight behind
the circumstances with it. But all right. Well, that is it for the show this week. Thank you all so much for listening. We appreciate each and every one of you, whether you're here live on Monday nights, twitch.tv/the Super Gamer Boys, catching us afterwards on Patreon, early and ad free, patreon.com/Super Gamer Boys, or listening later on podcast apps around the globe or watching on youtube.com/Super Gamer Boys. Thank you. From the bottom of our hearts. You are incredible. If you're, happen to have your cursor down near the bottom of the screen, maybe you can hit the subscribe and like button. That'd be cool. Possibly, maybe think about it. If you really love what we do, you could also support us over at patreon.com/Super Gamer Boys. Got it in one. Starting at just $1 a month. So think about supporting us over there. We very, very much appreciate that. All the help we can get to keep making cool content for you folks. And then you can also support us over at sgbstore.com. Make sure to check that out. Buy some sweet merch. It's the winter season. Get some warm gear. Get a mug and sip your hot cocoa out of. Get some gifts for your friends. Rate and review us where you can. We'd appreciate if you went over to Apple Podcasts, dropped a review, or Spotify. You can review podcasts now. Go check that out. Shout out to Jack, Sriracha, Yate, and DJ Trooz for allowing us to use their music on the show. Remember, tonight we've been listening to DJ Trooz, so go find them. Click the links in the description if you're watching or listening later. Add them to your playlist. Enjoy. Apple Music and Spotify is where you can find those folks at. And last but not least, you can find us during the week over at supergamerboys.com, Twitter and Instagram at supergamerboys, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at gmorlang. Adrian, where can the fine folks find you at?
You can find me any and everywhere on this here internet at Homeboy, HOLMBOI.
And with that, it is complete. Now it's time for me to die, whispering into the abyss about the pudding. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. You can take the show out.
No problem. Folks, thank you for hanging out with us for another episode and another week of the Super Gamer Boys podcast. As Garrett has just mentioned, we appreciate any and all forms of support. As from telling a friend to Patreon support, it is all greatly appreciated and allows us to continue to do what we are doing here, which is hang out with all of you and talk about the wide world of video games. And with that, we are the Super Gamer Boys.
And we'll catch you on the flippity flop.
We really did we created a whole lore section that's going to have to go on our website about Hands in the Pudding at this point. You know that, right?
It's a whole new tab right next, but you can only access it through the contact us page. That's the only way.
You have to. That's how you unlock it. You have to write in a letter through the contact us, and then you can get. Well, it'll automatically send you a link.
We email you a link. Yep.
Hands in the pudding. Hands in the pudding.